を生み出す権下だ。ダメだろ、同じ穴の虫だけ。てめえと一緒に住んじゃねえ。俺はこの世界を。
The GN0002, Gundam Dynames. I wasn't much of a fan of the Gundam 00 series. In fact, I have stated many a times, unapologetically, that I was a UC guy through and through. But there is no denying, the Master Grade Dynames is a work of art. It's well done, highly articulate. It is the most articulate Master Grade I've ever dealt with. The inner frame is sacrificed mainly for this maneuverability. It is undeniable. It is a necessary evil, if you will, for the simple posability of this kit. It borderlines on almost an action figure, I would say. Simply because if you can think of it, you can probably put Dynames into it. It is the most expressive Master Grade on the market, bar none. And that title was once held by 2015's Master Grade RX-782 Origins Gundam, which I thought was the most posable Gundam to date. Well, now it's finally been bested. It has been slightly over 10 years, it's around 11 years actually, since the 00 series aired. And unfortunately for 00 fans, they were always stuck with the same thing, the Gundam Exia in its multitude of forms. It got to the point of where it was almost comical how Bandai seemed to ignore every other 00 Gundam. But finally, the fans have something they can rejoice for. A little late, but better late than never. The Gundam Dynames is one of the most interesting Master Grades I've ever put together. It's not that complicated, and the engineering is actually quite brilliant when I think about it. The maneuverability is second to none. I was surprised at how much this model kit could do. But I give you these caveats. If you do paint your Dynames, this will make moving this sucker a lot more of a pain in the ass. There are a multitude of problems with the kit once you start painting it. The pistol holsters on the calves, which I don't understand why you'd have your pistols on your calves. It reminds me of those 70s TV shows where the detective cop always had his gun in his socks for some reason. It just made no sense. By the time you got down to your knee to pull it out, the guy already shot you. But giant robots, gonna have to, suspend disbelief off the bat, for God's sakes. So that's a huge problem. That thing pops out all the time. There aren't many accessories with the Dynames, but I guess it doesn't really need them. You get 2 pistols, a giant sniper rifle, 2 beam sabers, and that's the end of that. Oh, well, a whole lot of posability. I think enough posability that Jobby the Hung would actually be interested in this, but Lord knows he'd never paint it. On the other downside is the fact that this model kit comes with stickers. I completely and utterly abhor stickers. I will say this though, if you paint your kit Mr. Hobby Gundam color for Mobile Suit White, actually hides the seams of the stickers, so you can get away with them. Only on white though. Don't bother putting it on any other color. Don't put it on green, don't put it on black. It will show up, it'll look like trash. It'll be an eyesore. You can order some third-party water slides off of eBay, but they're not the good third-party ones. I can't remember the name of the good ones, but the ones I was using is definitely not that. So I used the decals sparingly. You'll notice I didn't go crazy with them because I felt the Dynames looked good enough with just enough writing for warnings and cautions. Too much and it would distract away from the aesthetic beauty of the model kit itself. There are a couple other gimmicks besides a whole lot of posability. The fact that the head can actually do the whole sniper scope camera at the top. Oh, Fluffy's here. Thank you, Fluffy. Ruin the professionalism. And that's about all. Oh yeah, I forgot. The GN drive. The GN drive is actually quite genius. The fact that it does take, obviously, 2 of Bandai's expensive LED kits, because why not? And I believe, if I recall correctly, the LEDs are $12 a pop from Bandai. I would strongly suggest using third-party LEDs. They're brighter, they last a little longer, and they're just as durable. So why not go third-party? Save yourself some money. I think I paid $8 for 2, rather than 20-something or to official Bandai ones. But the drawback is the third-party LEDs do not connect with the little hinges on the inside that twist and turn on the GM drive correctly. So you get one light to turn on, the other one will flicker because it's not all the way initiated. So this can be a tad bit annoying. You can strong arm it a bit, it'll get with the program, but do you really want to fiddle with it that hard? At that point, you may as well take it apart and turn it on the old-fashioned way. The sniper rifle is alright. It's not really that impressive, to be honest. The simple fact of the bipod doesn't have a sliding feature, sadly. I don't know why. You have to use parts forming, or as they say in the business, kibble. Oh, a little extra GN drive because I thought it'd be cool looking. Anyway, back to the sniper rifle. A little bit of kibble. It does connect into the forearms if you care about that at all. But if you painted your kit, you probably don't want to be throwing that connector in and out on a regular basis. You could scratch or chip your paint. It's an inevitability. And as this was a speed rush paint job for me, there's a strong point that this little sucker could get chipped fairly easily. There are also missiles in the crotch area. I didn't paint them, unfortunately. Please forgive me. I was on a time crunch. There are also knee missiles. I don't like the implementation of the design because painting them is a bit of a pain. If you've ever painted orange or yellow, you know how many layers it takes. So to try and brush paint it in is just going to be a complete and utter headache. I don't know if you want to bother painting, but, you know, there's a lot of rigmarole there. I decided to spray paint and mask off to the best of my ability. The lock-on figure itself. This has to be the biggest pain in the ass to paint next to Char Aznable and the Zaku 2.0 because he has those little yellow details that you have to paint in by yourself, and they're so microscopically small that it is not easy, and the toothpick technique is hit or miss, honest to God. I tried my best to replicate the lock-on in the manual, but it is not simple because the panel lines that show you where the guide for the white is in the suit and so on and so forth is so fine, it's extremely hard to see. I also made the huge mistake of using black panel liner because I was on a time crunch. Normally I would use brown panel liner or a flesh tone for the face. As you can see, it just looks like crap in his face, so I ruined a paint job right there being lazy. Back on the calf muscle handguns holsters. These things after paint do not stay in place whatsoever. If you fiddle with this kit after you've painted it, these will be the bane of your existence. Every time I moved this kit, the calf muscle gun holsters just kept falling out of place repeatedly. It was beyond annoying, to the point of where I didn't even want to put them back on. I assumed I was doing something wrong with them, but it appears to be correct. They suck. They genuinely suck. But if you don't fiddle with your kit, which under normal circumstances I don't, this won't be a problem for you. But if you're one of those people that have to pose these things on a regular basis because you got ADD with your kits, get used to these falling out to the point of where you'll probably get angry enough to glue them in. Also, the plastic parts that show the GN stuff, I don't know what it's called, that lighting crap with the holographic plastic in the clear areas, that kind of sucks too. So I took the liberty of adding my own holographic stickers and stuff on the inside. Much easier than it sounds. I got the hang of it after 2, and I didn't even bother cleaning up the first ones I did because to hell with it, time crunch. I would suggest this to anyone who wants a more lively GN effect going on in the limbs of the model kit because the light catches it better. It seems more alive rather than the sort of dulled, slight holographic color you get. The back thrusters, pretty cool. I don't have much to say about them. The gimmick is you open them, the thrusters stick out, you close them, the thrusters go back in. Not too crazy, not too interesting, but it's really blown away a lot of people for some reason. I will say after paint, closing up the pieces together was a real pain in the ass. Oh wow, there was a pun there. Also in this area, you'll notice the 2 white bits. Well, just one from this angle. That's the beam saber. Can't say much about it. I like it. It's simple. It's actually very sleek in the design. So I can appreciate that. and I don't really care much for the beam sabers with the Dynames, so whatever for me. You know, to be honest, it's there if you care. That's the best way I could put it to you. The upper shield is actually kind of cool, very Death Scythe-like. That's the vibe I get from it. The opening panels to reveal guns, nice touch. This whole thing, can't say anything bad about it. I like it. In the instance of looking at it, I thought just leaving it all green would be plain, so I decided to break up the green with a bit of a mechanical gray, just to match the sort of frame of the body and the gray areas of those square pieces that I don't know what the hell they're called. You know, I just thought it would pop more, be more lively, rather than just simple blah. I did consider painting in the circular areas or adding metal detail parts, but then I thought to myself, adding those would be a little bit loud, if you will. Less is more, in my opinion, and too much bright silver or chrome would really break this up in a bad way. I wanted it to stay color coordinated. I also deviated from the original color of the Dynames. The red parts are actually Ducati red, and the green parts I custom painted myself. Well, custom came up with. I call it Cassatria green because this is as close as I'm getting to painting a Cassatria. I was testing the waters. I also used a method called black backing, where you go with a black base and then work your way up in the color spectrum. Not at all hard, but it takes a little while to get the hang of it. But once you have a basic idea of it, it can lead to some very vibrant color transitioning, I personally believe, and that's what I was going for here. I wanted certain areas to really pop and be loud and beautiful, expressive. I wanted it to feel warm and alive as far as a color would go. Even though tactically, running around in a very bright lime green, wouldn't recommend it unless you were in some sort of lime green area. But what the hell I know? It's a giant mech. I mean, for God's sakes, I think the color coordination would be the last thing on your mind if you're in something bigger than buildings with the firepower of a nuclear weapon. You probably don't need to hide. It's probably like being the Rock and picking a school fight with 6th graders. You don't have to worry. Overall, the Dynames is what it is. Maybe Bandai's love letter to the fans of 00. After 11 years, they have something that they can finally be happy about. And if the runners of the Dynames have any clues to lead us to, one would surmise that there is going to be more 00 Gundam suits in the near future. Because even I noticed that there are extra parts for the hands for some reason. It doesn't make sense. It's a really weird thing. I have to say that though I'm not a fan, I can appreciate the aesthetic design. I can appreciate the work that went into this model kit, and I think it is one of the best master grades to come out in a long, long time. Too bad I'm not a 00 fan, because then I could really be excited about it. Now, I forgot to talk more about the shield, didn't I? By the way, the shield is obviously modular. Probably not obvious if you don't know, so I should say the shield is modular. You can take this thing completely off and only run with the 2 smaller shields in the back and put them on the shoulder. They go damn near anywhere. So you can really get the mini looks of Dynames in the anime. And on top of that, some of the more intricate poses, that giant shield is just in your way, man. Even though it looks cool, it's just in the way. This thing is a pure beauty, and I would recommend it to anyone who is a 00 fan, or to someone who just wants to break up the normal Gundam color schemes. Because the Dynames is in a league of its own, in every sense of the word. Design, colors, probably one of the cooler pilots in Gundam history or lore. It's the John Wick of mobile suits. That's what I feel like the Dynames is. Oh wait, no. Lock-On died. That's a spoiler alert. So if you're interested in this kit and you would like to buy one, you can get them actually at New Type HQ. They have them in stock. You can also use the promo code ItsAGunpla, like the name of this channel, and save yourself 10%. Because why not? Well, that should do it for me, because this has gone on far too long. This should have been like 10 minutes, but I pontificated far too long, and frankly, I had hours of footage. That's right, I wasted a lot of time doing all these slow pan shots. More videos on the way, probably some tool reviews, maybe I'll talk about some books I bought to help with learning new skills in painting Gunpla, and so on and so forth. I find that painting these model kits is a lot like motorcycle riding. If you want to do it competitively, or get really good at it, there's a lot of learning involved. The laying down sniper pose. I haven't got the best of it, but I will say this. It would be very cool for a diorama, in all honesty. This would be sick for a diorama. Unfortunately, I didn't really try too much with this simply because the kit is painted. Say the set I use for my painted kits is a diorama in and of itself. And frankly, I didn't want to scratch any paint posing it and messing around with the laying down sniper pose fully, so do forgive me. I have to have my priorities in order. Fluffy! Hold on, the dog's eating cat's crap. I gotta go.